Leading up the half hour, the KwaZulu-Natal High Court in Pietermaritzburg will today hear arguments by the legal team representing the French arms company Thales. It, along with the former President Jacob Zuma, are in court arguing for a permanent stay of prosecution. Well, the matter relates to more than 700 payments that Zuma allegedly received from the company in connection with the multi-billion rand arms deal. The state says the payments were a bribe by Zuma's former financial advisor, Sheikh. Zuma's counsel yesterday argued that there was political interference in his prosecution. Our reporter Ayanda Mhlongo is there. Let's go live to the Pietermaritzburg court where former President Jacob Zuma will be appearing. A very good morning to you, Ayanda. Essentially, how did court end off yesterday?
A very good morning to you, Shanta, and good morning to our viewers at home. Well, a very long day yesterday for on this matter of former President Jacob Zuma's together with his co-accused, the French arms company Thales, and obviously after a long day of the representations that were made by his defense team led by Advocate Moses Kakana as well as Advocate Masugu. Today it will be the turn of the defense team representing the French arms company, and Advocate Anton Katz will be making their representations before the three judges today. And yesterday, he briefly in the afternoon before the court proceedings came to an end, gave a little bit of a brief in terms of today and what he will be elaborating on in his arguments. And one of the points that he made mention in today, what we will get to understand and hear more from the defense team on this matter with regards to asking this court to review the decision that was made by the NPA to reinstate the charges against the French arms company. Of course, the other argument that they'll be going more thoroughly into today is also that similar to what the Jacob Zuma defense team discussed in length yesterday is regards to the delays in this matter and how they said the manner in which the NPA has handled this case. As we know, that is a case that has dragged now for about 15 years. And so today, this morning, as I said, it will be Advocate Katz's turn to present his arguments before the judges. But just to get a little bit more analysis, legal analysis on what we can expect today, and maybe just a short recap from yesterday. I'm joined by Advocate Makhosazana Mbonani. Advocate Mbonani, thank you so much for your time. Let's just quickly get a wrap of yesterday. And one of the points that was even mentioned by the judges throughout the day was on the fact that the defense in this matter are going to have to prove extraordinary circumstances for this appeal to be, or this permanent stay of prosecution application to be granted. But just quickly take us through what are the legal principles that must exist in order for them to be able to be, in order for this permanent stay of prosecution application to succeed.
Thank you for having me, Ayanda. Well, there are three requirements that the applicants have to satisfy in order to be successful in getting an order for a permanent stay of prosecution. The first is the nature of the prejudice suffered by the accused because of the whatever reasons that they are going to give the court for the application. The second one is the nature of the case, and then the final one is a systematic delay. Now, in all decisions that the courts will be making, they will be looking at balancing the interests of the accused, their rights in terms of Section 35, as well as the interests of justice.
Another point, yesterday we saw or heard Advocate Kakana giving us extracts from the transcripts of the infamous spy tapes, which are conversations between the former Scorpions head Leonard McCarthy as well as the NPA head Mr. Bulalani Ngoga. Now, there was a Supreme Court of Appeal decision on this, or ruling rather, around the spy tapes, but we saw them bringing in the matter to add, of course, to support their point that there was political interference in the case against the former president.
You have to remember that there are basically two reasons, grand reasons that that are basis for this application. The first are irregularities and unreasonable delay. So they have to prove all those requirements that I've set out, as well as those irregularities, and part of those irregularities is the political interference. Now it's the court that has the final discretion to decide whether they will take that into consideration. But if you have to look at it from a legal standpoint, it forms part of what the case, the nature of the case is, and what are the reasons for these prolonged delays.
And just before I let you go, on the matter that was raised again by Advocate Skakane on behalf of Mr. Zuma, the fact that they are arguing that Mr. Zuma should in fact have been tried alongside his former financial advisor, Mr. Shabir Sheikh, during his trial.
Well, I cannot speculate as to whether or not the courts will have to take that into consideration. That is a suggestion on their part. However, in making a decision on whether or not to charge anyone, the NPA, or the person making the decision in the NPA, the head in this circumstances, has to satisfy themselves that they can have a successful prosecution, or they have to take into consideration an array of considerations. So it is within the head's purview, within their powers, whether to charge or not and when to charge. However, it has to be within reasons. So if the state can give a rebuttal for that, and they can give reasons to the courts as to why that was not the case, why it wasn't charged with his former financial advisor, then that point could be refuted. However, we cannot speculate.
Right, Advocate, thank you so much for your time. And I know that you'll be joining us throughout the day, Advocate Makosazana Mbonani. So as she is giving us her analysis of yesterday and what the proceedings yesterday and the presentations that were made by the Zuma defense team, and of course today it was going to be interesting what more will be put forward by the team that will be representing arms company Thales. But again, Shante, while the focus is going to be inside the court, we can't ignore what will be happening outside. Yesterday again, scores of Zuma supporters gathered outside the Pietermaritzburg High Court, as they've continuously come out in support of the former president. And again, yesterday, people coming out in their numbers. We must say though that this time around, the numbers are not as big as those that we've seen in the previous appearances, but those that are responsible for mobilizing the support did tell us yesterday that because the court proceedings this time are going to happen over a period of 4 days, that there were some financial constraints and they weren't going to be able to get as many people to come through every single day. But they have said that there is going to be support every single day. Today the weather is a little bit chilly, so that might also possibly impact the number of people who might come out here today. But they have promised that they're going to be here until Friday in support of the former president. And yesterday, as he's always done after the court proceedings of the day, he then went and spoke to his supporters, and that's likely going to happen again today once the court proceedings are done, where he will then get a chance to go and speak to his supporters, and it just gives them an overview on what happened in court, and took the opportunity yesterday to thank those who've come out to support him, but also again continuously saying that people could still come out and support him for the rest of the week. So we'll be monitoring what will be happening outside the court, and hopefully we'll be catching up with the organizers of the Zuma supporters, and just speaking to them on what we can expect today and how many people are likely to turn out here in court. Court proceedings are going to get underway from 9:30 this morning.
Let's leave it there. Ayana Mplongo for SABC News, standing outside of the Pietermaritzburg High Court in KwaZulu-Natal. Of course, she is going to be giving us those details as we await 9:30 this morning, day 2 of Zuma as well as a French arms company Thales in court with those applications to have cases and, of course, charges against the two dropped.